don't forget, Friday night will be thermal bug night for all you youngsters. 15 and under will all get thermal bugs. Some lucky fans Saturday night. Giveaway night is going to receive $5,000 worth of pure plutonium.
What do fans want to ask GQ coverman and Mets pitching ace Ron Darling? How does Don Baylor handle his role as the best designated leader in baseball? Why is the National League in the grip of Cy Young winner Mike Scott? Who do Major League ball players think are the best clutch players in the game? What do they eat for a pregame meal? And who are their favorite female athletes? Wild Play, columnist Mike Lupica, and more in the premiere issue of Baseball Video Magazine, the only sports magazine for VCR owners. Baseball Video Magazine. What a shot.
Ron, darling.
Hey, Ronnie.
Hello, Ron.
Fans caught up with Mets pitching ace Ron Darling at his New York restaurant, Murray Street.
How do you feel about being called darling all the time?
I'll tell you, it's worked out nice now because when I was smaller, I hated it with a passion because, you know, kids can be cruel. But now it works nice. You know, it looks good in the papers.
Hello, Ron Darling. We're from Houston, Texas, and we're Astro fans. Don't you think it's kind of foolish that you guys always are hollering scuffed ball, scuffed ball, scuffed ball? That's all you know. Everybody looks at it, nobody finds a scuffed ball. Makes you look a little silly, doesn't it? I just like your comments on that.
Well, the thing about it is that I think all the baseball people know that Mike Scott, the pitcher for the Astros, probably does something a little foreign to the ball. But like I said, and I've said many times before, whether he does or not, he's a great pitcher, and he had an outstanding year, one of the best years I've ever seen a pitcher have. Over 300 strikeouts in 270 innings is unbelievable in the National League. And, you know, maybe it does make us look silly, but we finished number 1, Astros finished number 4. So, sorry, guys.
Ron, I think you're terrific. But I'd really like to hear about Keith Hernandez.
I hate to answer that. I don't know what you want to know.
Now, I know you two are great friends. What can you tell me about Keith Hernandez?
He's fanatical, he's crazy, and we call him Static because he's always moving. But he's one of the dearest friends I have on the team.
Ron, sometimes in the games, if things weren't going well, Gary and Keith and sometimes Ray would come out and talk to you. Sometimes they'd stay for 3-4 minutes. What I want to know is, what do you guys talk about?
Usually when they come out, it's because I'm in trouble, and they try to, you know, calm me down or whatever. But I got a great story about that. One time Gary came out, I was in Montreal, and I was pitching poorly that day. It was about the 3rd inning. I had given up about 7 runs. Bases were loaded. Gary came out, and I said, "What are you doing out here?" Because I get upset when he comes out. He said, "Well, I'm not going to talk to you. Just pretend I'm talking to you because we're waiting for the relief pitcher to warm up to come on in."
Ron, darling, are you a GQ man?
So is that a stupid question?
A lot of people say that you're the most underpaid pitcher on the Mets, and I agree with them. How do you feel about that, huh?
I agree with you totally. No, hopefully, you know, I think the whole thing came about as the arbitration thing because I lost, and poor Ed Lynch won, and I think that ended up getting him traded. So it was a strange thing, but this year I hope to make up for it.
So how do you feel about being a father? Are you looking forward to it, or are you dreading the sleepless nights? And will you be the one changing the nappy or diaper?
I probably will be changing diapers, I'm sure. But no, I'm going through a stage right now where I hedge back and forth. Sometimes I'm really excited about being a father, and other times I think, am I ready for this? But I can't wait, and let's pray it's a girl. Pray it's a girl.
And who is the, let's say, the 3 batters in the National League, rank them 1, 2, 3, who you would least like to face in a game-deciding situation?
Well, if it was the 9th inning and the guy on 3rd and 1 out or no outs, the 3 of these guys I like to face probably, 1, Mike Schmidt, 2, Jack Clark from the Cardinals, and 3, which is probably a surprise, is a guy named Phil Garner who plays for the Astros. Only because for such a little guy, he always seems to, you throw him a great pitch, he always seems to get a bat on the ball, and in that situation, I'd hate to face him.
Juan, are the Mets going to win next year?
I'm trying to enjoy 86. I thought it was a great year, and I'm trying to enjoy that first. But when April starts, I think we'll be as ready as anyone else to repeat.
Hey, Ronnie, what's it like living with Tony, that Irish lad? Lassie.
Thank God she's not a lad.
Baseball Video Magazine presents Talkin' Baseball. Stealing home is one of the game's most exciting plays. Only 2 players in history have stolen home plate 7 times in one season. Which of these great speedsters shares that record with Brooklyn's Pete Reeser?
Brawling, the mark of a pro.
Although Robinson and Henderson are known as superb base stealers, it's Rod Carew who shares the record with 7 steals of home plate. That's really talking baseball. We asked Major League ball players how they felt about everything from clutch players to party cities in Baseball Video Magazine's first annual player poll. First off, we asked, what was the most exciting finish to a game in 1986? The overwhelming choice, the Mets versus the Boston Red Sox in the 6th game of the World Series. Watch it, Mookie. What's the favorite pregame meal of ball players? Go Italian said 57%, who named pasta as their favorite. Chicken is second with 20%, while the All-American steak, 10%. How about their favorite female athlete? Tennis champion Chris Everett Lloyd stole first place hearts, with golf superstar Nancy Lopez in second, barely edging out Martina Navratilova. Roger Clemens' selection as the American League's MVP over second-place challenger Don Mattingly stirred the winds of change in baseball, dividing those who feel the contributions of everyday players cannot be considered less valuable than those of a pitcher. So we ask, should the criteria for the MVP award stay the way it is or be changed? Change it, says 57%. Stay the same, 30%. And of those who want to change it, 59% said the MVP award should go to an everyday player. Mike Scott agrees.
I just don't think a guy every 5 days is as valuable, that plays every 5 days is as valuable as a guy that plays, 162 games. I think they've got an award for pitchers, and, a Cy Young's good enough, but an MVP and a Cy Young for a guy that throws every 5 days, it's kind of hard to justify that.
Ball players spend half their season on the road and quickly become connoisseurs of the American landscape. So come on, guys, rank your favorite party city. The Big Apple may be the home of the world champions, but the Windy City laughs last. What was the worst base running mistake you've ever seen? Sorry, Yankees, it was 2 for 1 night when both Dale Berra and Bobby Meacham got tagged out at home plate on the same play. Who has the strangest superstitions in baseball? He writes the time of day on the field, eats chicken every day, and draws a symbol in the dirt before every at-bat. It's 3-time American League batting champion Wade Boggs. Strange interludes, Wade. And the final question, rank the best clutch players in the game today. Don Mattingly rates first place honors, while Kansas City slugger George Brett is second, barely outpointing Keith Hernandez. That's Baseball Video Magazine's first annual player poll. We give you the stat, you tell us the fact. It's Stats a Fact. 5 grand slams in one season. That's the stat. Think it over. Baseball Video Magazine.
What a shot!
5 grand slams in one season, a feat achieved only by Chicago Cub Ernie Banks in 1955 and the bruising bird from Baltimore, Jim Gentile, in 1961. And that's Stats, a fact. Where he leads, winners follow. Baltimore, California, New York, Boston. Don Baylor, baseball's best designated leader in the hot corner.
What is your definition, if you have one, of leadership? What makes a leader? What is a leader on a professional baseball team?
Well, on any team, you can go from little league to the highest level. I think it's defined by your actions, what you do on the field. You do not have to be a very vocal guy as long as you go about doing your job. When it's not going good for you, that you go out and give 100%, you play the same way until you turn things around. And it's just respect that you get. Slide in the second base. You don't have to pick the guy up and dust him off and say, oh, you're all right. If he knows you're going to come in there clean and you show the guys on the ball club that's the way you play.
Who among your peers in the major leagues would you define as a great leader?
To me, everybody respects Eddie Murray because the way he plays, he goes out and plays 162 games every year, and he has quality numbers. He's not a selfish player. And you look at some of the veteran players like Pete Rose was a great leader when he played. There's no doubt about it. Willie Stargell. Dave Parker is a great leader. Joe Morgan was a great leader. Mike Schmidt, you know, look at his numbers, you can tell he leads by example. Cal Ripken Jr., a guy who plays every day, every inning. Yeah, that's a leader.
Moving on to the postseason, 5-2 going into the ninth. What was the mood on the bench with Mike Witt pitching and appearing to have good stuff?
It wasn't appearing that he had good stuff, he had great stuff. I know I've never had a lot of success against Mike. You could see Gene Mock and you could see Reggie Jackson on the bench there because Jackson had gotten ready for the celebration. Wade Boggs told me like right after the next inning, the 10th inning, because I was on deck and I didn't see Jackson had his glasses off, standing side by side with Gene Mock. He's going back to the World Series, and you know they were kind of embracing things, you know. And I think that would have made me a little tougher too if I'd have seen that. And when you see Reggie take his glasses off, but the odds against you also because he's been in the World Series many, many times. And when you see that, you kind of dig down a little deeper and say, okay, if we're going to go down, let's make sure we just give them great 3 outs, and if they win it, they win it. And I've never been, you know, that involved in the last 3 outs of a game. I mean, it's like everybody's hanging on every pitch, every swing, because you're kind of running out of air here. And it was just really a great feeling just to see when Henderson hit that ball over the fence after dropping one over the fence. An entire dugout come out to the on-deck circle. Everybody's giving high five, low fives, and in between, and anything else. And just to see that camaraderie reminds you back to the Little League days when you had that same jubilation. You know, see guys come together and you're down to your last breath. And it was a great feeling. I knew we won it.
Moving on to the series, I remember reading in the paper, I believe Keith Hernandez was talking about the rally when they came back and won. And one thing he said was that he saw the celebration in the Red Sox dugout. He saw Oil Can doing his little dance and the players getting ready. What was it like? When that ball went through Bill's legs and they had come back? I mean, how do you recover from that as a team?
When the ball went through his leg, it was like total disbelief. I mean, it was like, gotta be kidding me. Yeah, he's probably made that play in his sleep so many, many times. Ball never came up, stayed down, and we feel like we're still right there. And it let them back in the ball game, gave them the added confidence that they were at home and had the home crowd, and it's just not a real good feeling. So it takes its toll as a player, even though you've played the game so many times and for years and years. When you have things like that happen and it's total disbelief. You say, I made that play in my sleep so many times. Then in the World Series, you did not make that play.
If you could be any other player in the game today, who would it be and why?
Mattingly. I like to hit about 350, and knowing that once the season starts, you're going to hit 350.
Baseball Video Magazine presents The Front Page, a look at baseball history. We give you the date, you give us the sports headline. Hit the freeze frame when you have the answer and test your response time with the clock. Here's some clues. The start of free agency in the mid-1970s was the most cataclysmic event in recent baseball history, at once reviving fan interest in our national pastime and making instant contenders of also-rans. Long before Catfish Hunter became baseball's first superstar free agent in 1974, another player had waged a long legal battle against the reserve clause. He had .293 in 15 Major League seasons, all but one spent as a St. Louis Cardinal, and retired in 1971 after a brief stay with the Washington Senators. Curt Flood's courageous stand helped pave the way for free agency. That's a look at the front page. Baseball Video Magazine presents Wild Pitch.
Let's have the old Dipsy Doodle in there.
Following a baseball can be a dangerous game. Something wild can happen on every pitch. Think about the wildest play from last season.
Brawling, the mark of a pro.
Here's our choice. Met Keith Hernandez hits one back to the box, but San Francisco pitcher Terry Mulholland can't get the ball out of his mitt. His wild pitch solution? Throw the whole damn thing over to first. Wild. That's the first installment of Wild Pitch.
He's a great pitcher, and he had an outstanding year, one of the best years I've ever seen a pitcher have.
Baseball Video Magazine's Terry Cashman puts you in the grip of Mike Scott.
I remember you as a young pitcher with the New York Mets. And you were talked about as a fastball, curveball pitcher, great velocity, but you struggled. What happened to Mike Scott to make him think, I got to get a new pitch, I got to change?
I just could not throw a slider where I wanted to. Half the time it wasn't breaking, and you can't be a fastball, mediocre slider pitcher in the big leagues. I always had the fastball, and I had it in '85, but I really didn't have a pitch to go with it. So during that off season, we decided we better do something, or Al Rosen decided we'd better do something because it was a pretty disastrous year for me. And I went out and they said, what the heck, try to learn that pitch from Roger Craig. He was between jobs at the time. And I went out to San Diego and learned the split finger fastball, and my arm really wasn't in shape when I'd learned it, but I just learned basically how to throw it. And then when I came back to spring training, they came up to me and said, we want you to throw it as much as you want. I don't care if you walk the ballpark, I don't care if they hit it, but just get a feel for the pitch. And when my arm finally got in shape and I started throwing to hitters, they were reacting like I've never seen before. They're swinging at balls in the dirt, they were out in front of it, and I would say actually from my first spring training game on, it had been a good pitch for me.
Show us the difference between your normal fastball, the fastball you always threw and you throw now, and the grip, the actual grip that you use on the split finger.
All right, there really is absolutely no trick to it. It's exactly what the pitch says. I'll throw my fastball with my fingers right on the seams and my thumb underneath, And the only change was I split them out there. Sometimes a little wider than others, but I just put them outside the seams and throw a fastball.
Now, what kind of spin comes out of that?
Mostly it's a tumbling spin. It's not like a curveball that really rotates quick, and it's not like a knuckleball with no spin. It's just like in between. And I think the off-speed and just the tumbling effect makes the ball go down. Sometimes it does squirt out like a knuckleball, and sometimes it has a little more spin to it. But
the height of the mound, does it differ in the National League ballparks? And does it affect the way you pitch?
I don't think it's supposed to differ that much, but there's some mounds I like better than others. I think really there's only a couple that I don't like, and one's Chicago. And when the wind's blowing out there, it seems like you're pitching from second base.
Is that a lower?
To me, it seems like that, but I've talked to other pitchers that love it out there. But I just have a bad perspective. It seems like I'm a foot farther from home plate, and it seems like it's a flat mound. But that's just me. You know, maybe it's because I haven't pitched that well there. But there in Atlanta used to be a real low mound, but the last couple of years that's been real high.
Parks.
Yeah, you know, I think the fences being a little closer make the mound look farther away from home plate. But
the launching pad. Man.
Yeah, they're the two mounds that I've had more difficulty with.
Let's talk about the no-hitter a little bit this year. I'm sure that's a nice subject.
Yeah, it is.
To get into. Tell us about that day.
I was pumped up, and there were a lot of people there. And the first pitch of the game, I hit Dan Gladden right in the back. I tried to throw a 150-mile-an-hour fastball, and I just threw it as hard as I could, and had no idea where it was going. And after that pitch, I thought I better settle down a little bit and concentrate on what I'm doing. And as the game went on, it was a close game. I think we scored a run in the second or third inning, and Denny Walling hit a home run. It made it 1-0, and it got to about, I think, the 7th or 8th inning. We scored another run, and I remember Alan Ashby came out there late in the game, and I got behind a hitter, and he told me, he says, "Don't let up on this guy." He says, "We're going to win this pennant, but you got a chance to throw a no-hitter." I think that little extra push helped, and the adrenaline started pumping, and the fans started screaming, and I had all the energy I needed. I just wanted to concentrate and stay within myself, and I did.
What is it about baseball in your mind that really seems to have a hold on the American public?
I think a lot of it has to do with the older players that are heroes. You look at a Yogi Berra, a Mickey Mantle, and a Babe Ruth. They're legends. And at least to me, I don't see any. I mean, there's some football legends, but they don't have carry the same weight as a Babe Ruth or a Joe DiMaggio. And you know, baseball is it's a game where you can go there and for 8 innings, you're bored. And then all of a sudden the 9th inning comes around, you go home and say, that was the greatest game I've ever seen. And once in a while, like any sport, you're going to go to a game, it's going to be 10-0, and it's a blowout. But other things can happen. You can see some home runs in the game, you can see some big strikeouts, you can see anything in a baseball game. And I think that with the heroes, I think makes baseball
Who are your
a national
heroes?
pastime. Jack Nicklaus.
I'm going to the place where baseball lives. Ruth and Cobb and Joe DiMaggio. Sunny days and Willie Mays. You'll be glad you took the trip to Cooperstown, the town where baseball lives.
The big smile, the big swagger, the big swing, and gone. Willie Lee McCovey, the man they call Stretch, was elected to the Hall of Fame last year, and deservedly so.
It means that you will be forever known as one of the all-time greats of the game, not just by the people who remember you when you played. Those people, they know how good you were. But the Hall of Fame means that people being born today who will grow up being a baseball fan will be able to go there and see that Willie McCovey was one of the all-time greats to ever play the game.
Sunny days and Willie Mays, you'll be glad you took the trip. Cooperstown, the town where baseball lives.
When I first came up, guys used to gather in one guy's room, and all we'd do is talk baseball. And we would talk about, you know, opposing hitters and opposing pitchers. And then toward the end of my career, that was all gone.
We give you the stat, you tell us the fact. It's Stats Effect. 8 home runs in 8 consecutive games. That's the stat. Think it over.
Brawling, the mark of a pro.
8 home runs in 8 consecutive games. That's the record-setting feat achieved only by the Pittsburgh Pirates' Dale Long, and that stat's a fact. Enter the Stats of Fact contest and win a free 1-year subscription to Baseball Video Magazine. Here's the stat: 7 hits in 9 innings. What's the fact? In the press box, award-winning columnist Mike Lupica yearns for a Subway Series in New York.
In New York, we've come to expect certain things from our baseball season. So 1987 shouldn't be so different. George Steinbrenner will make a bad decision about a player and blame it on his baseball people. George basically wants Yankee fans to believe that when a foul-up comes, on the field or off, all his baseball people are Oliver North. At Shea Stadium, Darryl Strawberry, Mr. Misunderstood himself, will strike out a few too many times by May, and the fans will start booing him again. Darryl, of course, will blame the boos on everyone except the guys striking out. Keith Hernandez will make plays at first base you swear are the best he's ever made, already forgetting the ones he made last season that you were sure were the best he'd ever made. Donald Mattingly, the best player in the game, will bust from the gate even better than he did last season, but still will be out there at 4 in the afternoon, tinkering with his swing at the batting tee. Ricky Henderson will continue to be the best leadoff man in the game, but Lenny Dykstra and Wally Backman will continue to be the most fun combination at the top of any order. 2 runts trying to play Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. If Sid Fernandez hasn't eaten his way through every Burger King in Hawaii during the offseason, he'll establish himself as the Met ace. Rick Rhoden, notorious scufflaw, will be the Yankee ace, maybe even the Mike Scott of the American League, controversy-wise, I mean. Steinbrenner, of course, will say that his baseball people have assured him that Rhoden would beat up a nun before he'd doctor a baseball. If you're a Yankee fan, you're hot that the Mets have taken over the town. There's a Yankee fan I know named Healy who owns a bar called Runnings, and Healy has been to the last 38 consecutive Yankee home openers. When I told Healy I was rooting for the Mets to win the World Series, he said, "You're not a 14-year-old girl. You can't possibly be a Mets fan." Maybe you're getting the idea. I think this will be the richest Met-Yankee baseball summer we've ever had. Does that mean we're talking Subway Series? Who knows? But for one great summer, and what would be some October, I want New York to be the baseball capital of the world again. I want to know what the 2 ballparks would sound like for a Subway Series. Plus, it would be good for Steinbrenner's ego to look smart again, just one more time. So what do you think?
Coming next issue, the grudge match, as our computer pits the 27 Yankees against the 75 Big Red Machine. Baseball news and notes on the Baseball Video Magazine scoreboard. Here's last season's league leaders. The Boston Rocket, Roger Clemens, won the American League Most Valuable Player Award. Clemens is the first starting pitcher to win the award since Vida Blue did it in 1971. In the National League, Mike Schmidt joined the elite company of Stan Musial and Rory Campanella as the league's only 3-time MVP award winners. Clemens also picked up the AL Cy Young Award, while over in the senior circuit, the award went to the Astros' Mike Scott. Despite a furious charge by Don Mattingly, Wade Boggs claimed his 3rd American League batting crown. In the National League, Montreal's Tim Raines posted a .334 average, barely edging out the Dodgers' Steve Sachs. Going, going, gone was the cry heard 40 times for Jesse Barfield, the American League's home run champion. In the National, it was Schmidt with 37. Someday they might just concede the stolen base title at the beginning of the season to Yankee base path burner Ricky Henderson and Cardinal speedster Vince Coleman. Oakland's Jose Canseco copped the American League Rookie of the Year honors. Though he hit only .240 and struck out 175 times, Canseco also pulled 33 home runs and made batting practice a gate attraction again. The Cardinals' ace reliever Todd Worrell was named the National League Rookie of the Year. Clemens and Scott teamed up again to sweep the ERA titles. Clemens with a .248 mark and Scott at .222. Dave Righetti set a new Major League record with 46 saves, breaking Suter and Quisenberry's previous record of 45. In the National League, Worrell rose to the occasion 36 times. Now here's the starting lineups for the 1986 All-Star Game. For the American League, in center field, Kirby Puckett. Left field, Ricky Henderson. Third base, Wade Boggs. Catching, Lance Parrish. First base, Wally Joyner. Right field, Dave Winfield. Shortstop, Cal Ripken. Second base, Lou Whitaker. Pitching, Roger Clemens. For the National League, left field, Tony Gwynn. Second base, Ryan Sandberg. First base, Keith Hernandez. Catching, Gary Carter. Right field, Darryl Strawberry. Third base, Mike Schmidt. Center field, Dale Murphy. Shortstop, Ozzie Smith. And pitching, Dwight Gooden. Finally, let us note that baseball is, and always has been, a game of characters. Baseball Video Magazine, the only sports magazine for VCR owners, is published 4 times a year. Don't forget to enter our Stats of Fact contest. Remember the stat, 7 hits in 9 innings. Give us the fact and win a free 1-year subscription to Baseball Video Magazine. Also send us your front page scores, and we'll tell you how you rank with the other Baseball Video Magazine subscribers. Next issue, Baseball Video Magazine takes you inside the 1987 season with a look at the hottest superstars, the rising rookies, the All-Stars, plus the debut of Grudge Match, as the 1927 Yankees with Murderers Row take on the 75 Big Red Machine with Johnny Bench and Pete Rose. And you can become part of Baseball Video Magazine's first annual fan poll. Just fill out the questions on your subscription card, send it to us, and see the results of our new poll in the next issue. Subscribe now and become a charter subscriber to Baseball Video Magazine. You'll save a bundle off the video store price, and you'll receive a surprise gift with your first issue, and a free subscription for a friend. This is Jim Carvelis for Baseball Video Magazine. What a shot! For subscription information, call or write Baseball Video Magazine, Post Office Box 9807, Inglewood, New Jersey 07631. Area code 201-568-3996.